Well, hello everyone. So glad you could join me again today. Welcome back to the channel. This is video 9 of the Merry Christmas Gnomes. And you can see the fireplace behind there and the bows, and it's decorated. You can see ribbons and hats, and the one is wearing like these reindeer shoot-offs. We're going to be working in this rectangle today. Let's go ahead and start dialing that in so you can follow along. As always, please subscribe. We're starting with letter K. And hit the thumbs up to show that you like the content. Leave a comment, questions, ideals, how you been, what you're challenged with this year. Please make the comments 7 words or longer, or YouTube does not recognize participation in our channels. Hit the bell notification only if you want to be notified when I release videos. As always, I hope everyone is doing well, or as well as can be expected. As some of you may already know, I am going on 58 this month, and I have been facing some severe challenges of mobility due to a knee replacement a 1.5 years ago, a hip replacement, and now the knee replacement has to be redone due to failure. And this is a way for me to try to generate income in which to help me survive. I'm not expecting to get rich off from it, but I can use all the help I can get. I already have an eBay store. Once I become monetized, I will be able to attach the link to the eBay store. Anyone who is going into eBay stores, if they put their items as make an offer, please do. The owner of the store can always decline any offers they don't like or make counter offers until you manage to come up with a price that both parties is happy with. My store is called Everything Under the Sun. It's all lowercase, and there's a dash in between them, so it's everything dash under dash the dash sun. And mine is on offers, and I always consider offers, or I will send back a counter offer. If I send back a counter offer twice the same amount, it usually means that I cannot go lower or I lose money to sell the item. And no one does any business to lose money. As far as this goes, doing these YouTube videos, is I've always been a person that does crafts to some extent. Not quite as much as I did growing up, but I do. I did a lot more growing up because we didn't have cable television. We didn't have TV. We had black and white to explain it better. Okay, doing the letter R. And so I always like keeping myself occupied growing up. I used to sit and do puzzles and other things. I'm used to being active. It's very difficult not to be at this time, but I really don't have a choice at this time in my life. And so I figured I would try to combine the two activities, trying to supplement my income and keep myself busy, which this craft does a little bit of both. It can be very hard to get huge on YouTube, and the best money made is by sponsorships. That's why you'll see many content creators sponsor items or sponsor sites, etc., so on, because they actually get paid for that, and it helps supplement their income. Some people do the YouTube because, one, they really enjoy sharing what they do, or two, they really want to make it a business and make a lot of money off from it. Some of them put a lot of work into the YouTube. And some don't. So there's a huge variety. Okay, number 3. Mine is just setting. I'm forced to sit a lot because the knee is so bad. First it was the hip going, first it was the knee going, then the hip going, and then the knee surgery didn't work, and that has to be redone. It's been a bit of a frustration. And then, of course, I have been doing videos in advance. So when I had the knee surgery done, I'm not missing days on videos being put out. My one son who lives with me, as he says, you can barely make enough to live on your own these days. And so true. I don't own my own home. I actually believe that a lot of times ownership is overrated because you are trapped there. And if anything disastrous happens, it becomes a burden rather than an asset, especially if you need to leave the area. Have I ever experienced ownership? Well, I've managed apartments and apartment buildings, as well as my parents had owned property, which, by the way, I did not get generational wealth. The property was not worth hardly anything. I grew up very, very poor, very poor. My parents were very undereducated. You're talking a 6th grade education and an 8th grade education. My father was illiterate. My mother was literate, but both of them were undereducated, especially on how to handle money. And basically, I am the result of the American tragic story. Although I am an avid reader and I do have financial literacy, it did not come on until in my 30s. And due to lack of high education, I do have a GED. My income has never been enough, especially in our wage disparity society today. Never enough to create a large wealth. Then I ended up having 4 children, and the men sucked, and I got no child support, and I raised them on my own. And I think I cover a lot of this in my newer video, my old videos, I should say, the ones that I first started releasing. But I've always been somewhat of an entrepreneur, and I've always tried. I don't get along well with co-workers. I think that a lot of people are slackers, and I've even hired people to work with me at housekeeping jobs and then had to fire them because they didn't want to do the work. Number 6 is next. I hope I did cover this with video 9. Let's see, number 6. So, I'm not a beggar. I don't like to beg. And I don't expect other people to support me. But this being YouTube and the fact that you get to choose whether or not you watch these paintings and whether or not you want to subscribe, I guess this is freedom of choice type thing. And if you do subscribe and you do watch my videos, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. The nice thing about watching videos, even if you don't have the time to, you can always just turn them on and let them run their course. I would chat more about things if I knew what people would want me to chat about. I know in some of the videos I'm very, very quiet, and that is because I don't have much to say at that point. I can be a chatty catty if it's about topics that I know or care about, or I have something to say about it. Still trying to find these number 6s. And I'm beginning to believe that is it of those, so I will move to L. Some people don't like going to old videos. You can. I'm a little new on that. My son had shown me, but if you're subscribed, you can do like this drop down things and go to all videos posted by the person, and you can watch all the videos if you choose to. Some people do that, some people don't. And for any of the newbies that don't want to go to old ones, I gotta admit, I made a lot more mistakes. I do record on my phone because I cannot afford to invest into some kind of proper recording. And even if I did, that would mean trying to spend the time and understanding and how it functions. And being of an older generation, just learning to use my smartphone can be irritating when they change the systems. So, irritating, confusing, frustrating, and I'm sure anybody of the... I don't know if it's because as you get older, you find it harder to learn new things, or if it's just because technology can be a bit confusing. And even worse, it changes so often. And because the changes are so fast-paced, it can be really hard to deal with and to figure out. Okay, let's do E next. I know when it comes to my eBay store, they love to do updates every year. And they change things every year. And I get stuck. I guess no one wants to play Coffee. You can hear him running around. He wants the other cats to play with him. It can be very difficult to deal with just in my eBay store alone. They keep trying to make this system better and more customer friendly, more seller friendly, and then a lot of times they get all these glitches that then it kind of crashes things, and it's just really upsetting. All right. Plus, they might be doing patchwork coding, which then can start becoming corrupt as well. I see another E right there. Oh, I see some more. We'll go ahead and fill those in. That's what we're looking for, is the letter E. Okay. Let's go ahead and do number 9. Now, yesterday, I was afraid that I was running out of number 9, and I checked the little storage bins that I keep it in, and thank goodness that there was a whole bunch more in there. So I got my tray filled up. I no longer feel I'm going to run out at this point, which is a good thing. I was worried about that. Stop itching that. Have no idea what they're itching. Something plastic. My one cat likes to lay in plastic bins. And then she'll itch the bin for whatever reason. Weird. And she'll also bat on doors, trying to get you to let her in the door. I've made it I want to say somewhere around in my 30s, I decided that I was no longer ever going to let cats into my bedroom. That my bedroom is always 100% off limit. I did not want to hear them. I did not want to feel them. I was done with them waking me up during the night, and I was done with the hair getting on my bedding and then getting on my face. And I do not allow cats in my room anymore. I want a good night's sleep. I do not want to interrupt it, and I do not want to be annoyed while I'm trying to sleep. and having physical problems, getting older. There are things that happen to you when you're older, whether you like it or not, like getting up to use the restroom during the night, like having hot flashes, like trying to roll over and you're in so much pain that you wake up. I can well do without an animal interruption. Letter A is going to be our next one. So by banning cats or pets entirely, I don't have any dogs. Not that I don't like dogs. I do like dogs. I just do not want them living with me in the city, barking. Number 7 is next. I do not want to have to go around outside and pick up their dog poop. I do not want to smell them in my house. In fact, I've developed allergies to dogs as I've gotten older. Many people who I cleaned for had dogs, and when I go in their houses, I have immense sneezing fits when I am in houses where there's dogs. So I grew up with German Shepherds. We had 4 at all times. They did not live indoors with us because we lived in such poverty that our house was very, very small. And, but that did not stop us from hanging out with the dogs every day, especially during the summer. And when Muff would have her pups once a year, we would climb in the doghouse with them. I am allergic to fleas. In fact, I have an overactive immune system. Any type of blood-sucking bite that I get, I well up and I have allergic reactions to it. So, and that's even when I was a child, I had the same reaction. I believe dogs do have a place in society. However, many dogs in the city get very bored and they develop really bad habits from being kept indoors all the time. And to me, a house can be just as much as a prison and a neglect factor as leaving them outside on a chain. And I do not want, and I do not have the money or the time to take care of dogs or even a dog. Cats are expensive enough as it is. And I'm very frugal on how I take care of my cats, how the litter boxes are done. And they're done by me cleaning them often. I buy more top shelf litter so I don't have to throw away so much litter. In fact, I don't. My litter is switched from box to box to box, and I manage to save money that way. Okay, do I have any more 7s? There was a lot of these. Nope. Now we're going to do the letter J. Actually, I think number 2 first. Yeah. I think I liked number 2. And dogs, when not trained properly, a lot of people don't even bother to train them. And I'm the type of person that when I get a pet, none of my cats have ever bred. They were always animals that people ended up with because of drop-offs and things like that. They were unwanted. I always had them spaded and neutered so they could not breed. I've never had any cats that were kittens from me allowing them to breed. That does not happen. And they pass away while they're with me. And in fact, me and my daughter, we've shifted them between us when circumstances caused us to have to do that. Not because we wanted to. And then we will take them back as soon as we can, like there was an interruption in our home life. We've had that happen before. But many animals, by rehoming and other things, the one thing I've noticed, like I helped people rehome animals, you know, spay and neuter and find a home for them, I've found that many animals acclimated to the house that they're raised in, and they have trouble with rehoming due to behaviors and other things. And it's a really sad thing to see. Some people are really, they get animals and then they treat them like they're some kind of commodity or something, and then they start getting rid of them when it suits them. And an animal that is used as a pet, it's a difficult situation. I know some people do it out of necessity, but it's not really fair to animals to do that. That's when I started getting animals and I wanted to keep them and I didn't want to have to move all the time, is when I stopped moving around as much, because it's too hard for animals. Just like children, you don't switch a child from one family to another family to another family to another family just because it suits you. Although some people may do that, I don't. And animals can develop affection and feelings toward their owners as well, which makes it really hard on them if they are deemed unwanted. And even worse, there's the people who gets an animal, do not bother to train them properly, and then when they develop bad habits, they don't want them anymore, even though the bad habits were caused by the way that they were raised and treated. So, not very fair to the animal at all. Well, that could have had two, but anyway. Doing number 2 right now still. Doing some outlining. We'll get back to the other here shortly. So, could have done too. Okay. Apparently this is quite confusing because they've mixed the two colors rather than have all the same like they did up top. It's very mixed. So all right. All right. Getting down there now. All right. I believe that's it, number 2. Wow. Now we're going to work with J. All right. Get a drink while I'm at it. A lot of singles on this one. There are a few groupings, but right now I'm just filling in some of the singles. All right. Okay, I don't see any over there. There are several groupings. Let's go ahead and get those done up. Okay, then we're gonna do the letter N. And they're pretty scattered too. Some are singles, some are groups. And again, I'm doing some singles. Just getting them filled in. Okay. Now we got a couple groupings. All right. And then we're gonna go ahead and go to Y. Gonna do the letter Y. I just have to find it. Okay. And then we have 4 right there. why, but that one is not catching stuff very well now. So I'm just gonna add a little bit. I can start deducting if need be. Okay. I'm gonna use this one instead, my small stylus, because they're small amounts. Okay. Whoops. Go ahead and discharge. Might have to adjust my clay just a slight bit. If I don't, then it won't pick up or it won't let off. So, discharge is the right word. It's discharging off from one adhesive onto a different one. I don't like the pink wax that they include because you have to load it on constantly. The wax tends to come off on to the drills, and then you have to load it on constantly, and I find that even more annoying than adjusting for the adhesive that I use. There's a Y. Okay. So I've done quite a few of these paintings now. I want to say at least darn near 10 now. This will be near my 10th one. And you do pick up quite a lot of tricks and tips. Number 5. And I think the first 2, maybe 3 of them is where I used the wax that they included, and I was constantly reloading the wax back on. And that got pretty annoying pretty fast. So then I came across paper slash whatnot adhesive that you can buy at stores that's like in a sticky adhesive. The one I got is like a white color. Here's a chunk of it that I pulled off and stuck on the thing, and I used that instead. Now that has its, let's see, we're gonna do number 8 now. That has its advantages and disadvantages, just like anything else. It takes a bit of learning, but it's still better than constant loading like the wax had, because you're not constantly loading. So if you actually do these and you find the wax pretty annoying, I know I did. Not everybody will. I guess it depends on what you're willing to put up with or tolerate. I couldn't tolerate it well. It annoyed me like nobody's business. Annoyed me. So I found an alternative. And in some of the other people who do these diamond dot paintings, they talk about some kind of white clay. I don't know, I've never came across the white clay, unless they're talking about that modeling clay. And I don't know if I didn't get that because of the cost. Like, it's expensive. It's really expensive. Where this adhesive is pretty cheap, really cheap. So maybe when my finances are a little bit better, I could try the modeling clay. Maybe that's what they were talking about. But when you're looking at like $8, $12 a pack, I think I got this adhesive for like $1.99. So, and it's pretty durable. Of course, it gets dirty when you're putting it in and things like that. And while you're using it and you have to clean it out, we're going to do letter X now. And you have to replace it. But you get a real awful lot for the price of it. So it's affordable. I haven't been able to work for like 4 months now. So yeah, how much I'm spending for stuff is actually important to me, considering I'm on a limited income now, way smaller than I was used to before. I thought living under $30,000 a year was hard before. Well, now I'm lucky if I'm going to have $15,000 a year, which is really a struggle. So doing letter X's now. And I'm not saying that people who watch me aren't struggling. That's why I said just watching and subscribing and liking is helping me. So, with no cost to you. Letter P. And that's what I do for other content creators, is that I do things like that because I can't help them financially, you know. And some of them will say, only give if you can afford it. Well, I know I can't afford it, so. And I don't have a link for anyone to give me money, so. I wouldn't even know how to create one. And I don't know if I would be comfortable by doing that. I do want to do a link to my store, but as I said, until I have enough people and view times, I'm not monetized, so I can't link my store to my channel. Oh, that came off. Stay with it. Get with the program. Get with it. Doing single P's now. And I don't do live streams, so there is no super chats or donations. I know I'm not going to have a car. My car frame is rotted. Well, it's not rotted, but it's starting to rot, and my garage told me that they will not inspect it this coming year. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Don't know how I'm going to get to and from doctor's appointments. I guess I better get all my surgeries in while I can. And definitely going to have to go look for a job once my body is situated, so I have a form of income coming in. I'm going to do the letter O now. And I've never driven a new vehicle in my life. I always buy junkers. This one I'm driving right now, the husband of a lady that I worked for had passed away. And I ended up getting it only because the grandson decided he didn't want to pay for it after all. And I was buying a $750 special junkers. Yep, cost me $750. And everything leaked on that thing. The oil leaked, the antifreeze leaked, everything leaked on it. I had power steering fluid. And I had driven that car, I think, 2 or 4 years. And it went, the vehicle that was her husband's, it was in the area I always parked. She ended up putting it there because the battery kept wanting to go dead because it was sitting. She wouldn't let the grandson have it until he paid for it. Don't blame her there, because she wasn't rich by any means. And I think it was like 4 months after his death, or 5, I said to her, when is he going to buy it? So it's out of my parking spot. And that's when she said, oh, well, he changed his mind. And then she goes, do you know anyone who wants to buy a vehicle? And I knew that my vehicle was not going to pass inspections again. Or that one might have been my $500 special one or something like that, where the frame rot broke the front end and I couldn't, and they weren't going to inspect it again. Like I said, I'm always buying junkers because I can't afford anything else. And I was like, yeah, I'm looking for a vehicle. So this vehicle was 7 years old. It wasn't even 10 years yet. Usually every junker I ever bought was 10 years, 12, 15, 20 years old. So this one was only 7 years old and had 38,000 original miles on it. And the Kelly Blue Book cost was only $5,000. And that's all she wanted was $5,000. And she let me pay it off over time. And of course I had to pay it off without using it. And I bought it. Well, I've only gotten, I think, 6 years out of this one. And the frame is starting to rot through. And I'm not going to have a vehicle. I guess I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll be honest. I don't know if I can afford one. Not without working, not with all these surgeries. Okay, now we're going to do the number 4. Because some of my extra money that I had, I invested it in starting a YouTube channel. I only make a few hundred a year. Still got number 4. Off my eBay store. And, yeah. So, life has been a struggle. And inflation's not getting any better. I've even had to go to the pantry to ask for food because I'm even struggling for food. Luckily, my rent includes all utilities. So it's a one-stop shop on that. And I guess that's why when I say I hope everyone's doing well, or as well as can be expected, I'm sure that many are struggling. So if you're having trouble buying food, link up with make calls, see if there's a pantry in your area where you can get some food. Buy a bus pass so you can get around if your area has buses. See if there's any organizations that could help you with the cost of things. Things have been a real struggle for a lot of people. So, as always, please subscribe. It's absolutely free, no cost to you. Leave a 7-word or longer comment, if you would. Where you're located at, suggestions, ideals, how you feel, what's been your struggle as of recent. Hit the thumbs up to show that you like the content. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you that take the time out of your day to watch my videos. I hope you're enjoying the paintings. Oh, I almost missed that cluster up there. Yeah. I just keep hoping for a better tomorrow, because you never know what tomorrow might bring. As it is right now for myself, I just keep hoping for better physical fitness, and the hopes that somebody would hire me, so maybe I can have a job, right, and start supplementing my income again. Thank you so much, and until next time, see you then.